right, so here we are. We're talking about essential oils for emotions. Oh, I gotta see if I can move my thing out of the way. Okay, and essential oils are super powerful for emotions. And I mean, they're great for a multitude of different things. We use them for all kinds of health needs. And cleaning and cooking and you name it. They're kind of fundamental foundational tools in our house. But for emotions, there's sort of some specific ins and outs of using them. And so I'm going to review those and help you understand why they're such a good option when we're talking about dealing with moods and emotions. Well, first of all, it's important to recognize that when you're talking about smells, there's a really powerful effect that smell has on our bodies. It's actually the most powerful sense when talking about memory. So we have, hearing and seeing and all those and touch. But when we're talking about memory, our sense of smell is actually more directly connected to that, to memorization or bringing back memories and that kind of thing. So memory is also what causes our bodies to feel most emotions. Most of our emotions are based on some experience from our past. And so for the most part, when we feel something or when we have an emotion, it's a reaction based on previous life experiences. So smell obviously triggers that since it's so strongly connected to memory in a really, really powerful way. We also need to think about things that we've eaten. We need to think about hormone activity and other interferences that happen that can play a role in how we feel emotionally. Also, simply, when we think about bad smells or toxic smells even, it impacts our mood in a very negative way. And a lot of times we kind of overlook that and think more about other environmental factors than smell alone. And we kind of think smell is something we can just ignore. But when our sense of smell is agitated, it can really put us in a bad state. Examples of that might be schools. I know a lot of schools have issues with mold, and that smell, while you may not even really have it in the forefront or in the conscious mind, is there and weighing on you no matter what. So for that reason, smell can be bad in a school setting, or maybe a strong cleaner scent. A lot of times you walk in the bathroom of a public restroom and you smell this horrible smell, and it's just something that oftentimes people get used to those things and they tune them out, I should say, and those things really play a large role in how we feel overall. If you think about a ringing in your ear and that's an annoyance and you try to get rid of it, smell has a similar effect on us, and a lot of times we overlook it. So it's a really important thing to start thinking about for our emotional well-being. If you think about your home, our homes are actually our most toxic environment, and we think we're doing a good job and we come home and we're safe, but depending on the cleaners you use and the products you buy, chemicals are released from those different things all the time. So we really need to be careful in that regard too. And we need to think about how our sense of smell and what is in the air that we're breathing plays a role in our emotional well-being. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so I wanted you to think of a place where you feel the most comfortable. It could be at your grandmother's house, it could be at your mom's house, it could be at your house. And we always try to make that environment as good as we possibly can. And I just mentioned it can be kind of toxic in those places, so we need to be careful. But when we smell things that are familiar, it usually comforts us. If you think about the smell of baking cookies, usually you can't be in a bad mood when you smell baking cookies or turkey in the oven or something comforting like that. How do you feel when you smell maybe the cologne that your grandfather wore, or even the smell of something like Bengay? Most people are familiar with Bengay or Icy Hot. It's a strong smell, and we are familiar with it, and it comforts us to know what we're smelling at any given moment. That face of the what's that smell face? It's not a very comfortable place to be when you don't know that smell. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about neuroscience. Oh, really quick, emotions, what they affect. I think it's important to recognize that too before we really get started, because a lot of times we put emotions off to the side and think, oh, well, feelings are just feelings. And that is true. But when our feelings are out of whack, we really can impact the rest of our health. Things like sleep hormones, our weight management, our sex drive, blood pressure, blood sugar, hunger, digestion, immune function, headaches, bad habits, focus, inflammation, circulation. All of these things are negatively impacted when our emotions are out of whack and when we're not feeling well. And I mean feeling emotionalized. So it's really important that we have tools to deal with our emotions rather than just, crying it out or waiting until it passes. Or for the most part, I think most of us just bury it or suppress it and try to get over it. And really, we should do our best to work through it. And fortunately, our sense of smell can help us do that. Okay, so this is very sciencey, but you can see it's kind of the cross-section of the brain. And what I want to draw your attention to are down in the left-hand corner, you can see the olfactory bulbs. And those actually come out sort of the top of your inside of your nasal cavity. So they actually touch air. Air touches your olfactory bulbs and you breathe that in, and that's how you get your sense of smell. That's where you get, you breathe that in and that's how you smell things. And now olfactory bulbs are connected directly to your amygdala. And your amygdala is very important in terms of processing emotions. It influences behavior and activities so that they are appropriate for meeting the body's internal needs. They include feeling. I'm sorry, I can't read it on account of that little thing being in the way, so let me move it. I'll probably have to move it again later in the class. Sorry about that. Sexual interest and emotional reactions such as anger. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. And the amygdala sort of then takes those things and passes it on into the rest of the olfactory system. And our bodies use those emotions to release hormones and to have chemical reactions that make our body do different things and basically have different emotions. So this is just a chart. I wanted to give you an idea that I found and I thought was really interesting. And this is talking about using your mind to sort of overcome emotions, mindful practices, which means being aware of what's happening in your brain and trying to just take proactive measures to overcome those things that are happening in your mind, whether it's fear or worry or anxiety or whatever, using your own human capability to sort of change how you may habitually even be reacting to certain situations or to life in general. And when you can take advantage of some of the tools that are available to do that, look at the good effects. Your weight can go down, blood sugar can go down, all these different things when you use tools that you have at your disposal to improve your overall thought patterns. And that's really where the oils fit in. They're one of these tools, a major tool in our tool belt for dealing with moods and emotions. So when you're feeling certain things, it's really important to have something to do in order to overcome those things. So a lot of times, like I said, we'll just bury these feelings, but having certain activities, and it could be exercise, it could be, yoga, meditation, all of these things are really good opportunities. And the oils, I think, for me, have been a really easy fit because it's super simple to walk over to a shelf and pick off one of the oils and just take a deep breath, and it helps me focus. And like I said, when you smell something delicious, it's really hard not to just feel a little bit better. Some things do run very deep and take time to overcome. Some things are almost forgotten because they've happened so long ago. But the oils can help us resurface things that we need to move through to change our overall health. So until we can work through some of these things from our history, it can be hard to move forward, if not impossible. On every part of our lives, every path that we're on, sometimes we'll have prohibited movement because we have issues that we haven't dealt with from before. And one of the great things about the oils is sometimes smelling a smell will trigger emotions to be released that you didn't even know you needed to release. Sometimes I'll have a reaction when I smell an oil that I didn't see coming because it impacted me on a level that I didn't know that I needed relief in. Emotions aren't just a whim, they're actually chemical, and they change our cellular composition. So our cells have formed through emotional experiences and responses. So from like the time we were born, our cells can retain information based on experiences that we've had. So, delving into some of that can make major impact in our overall health, and having tools to be able to deal with those things is super important. The oils offer us a chance to reprogram because they actually can enter the cell. They're intracellular compounds, and they can clean cell receptors and help in reprogramming cells. So if we can do that, it can change our overall, not just how we feel about things, but how our body chemically reacts at the cellular level, which, that's what we're made of. So if we can do that, we can really empower our health and improve our health. Okay. So just some examples. I want you to think about how you feel, maybe some of the different emotions you felt through the day. For me, I've had some feelings, belligerent feelings, angry feelings, frustrated feelings, and happy feelings too, excited feelings. And some more examples: stress and anxiety, fear, distractedness, sorrow or loss, anger, frustration. I mentioned those for me today. So these are things that we all feel from time to time, and it's okay on an immediate level. But sometimes, you meet somebody who overreacts when they have an emotional response. Their anger flares too high, or they maybe become belligerent when it's not appropriate, or whatever the case may be. In most of those situations, that's a learned behavior, where they have learned through their parents or through other experiences that that's the appropriate way to act, or maybe they know it's not, but it's still wired in them to do it that way. And so what the oils do is they offer us a leg up, an opportunity to sort of lean on this, triggering our emotions through smell to help overcome these maybe bad habits that we've formed. So, for example, let's see here, hold on. A side note really quick. It's important to remember, I mentioned diet earlier as it affects the emotions. And for me, when I'm talking about stabilizing my mood, I love the oils and turn to them regularly. But actually the most powerful tool that I have for stabilizing my mood so that I don't fluctuate as much as I used to, especially, women have cycles where, they can be moodier. Men have cycles too. But in taking a good supplement, you help stabilize those hormones so that you don't have those fluctuations as much. But they also help balance your energy level. So when your energy is high, your emotions aren't quite as volatile. So I highly recommend supplements if emotions are a place that you really struggle with. It could be, even depression. If you really struggle with these big fluctuations in mood, even over a period of time, finding a good nutritional balance. And then, of course, the oils can help too. That can be huge. And then exercise should not be overlooked. And sleep should not be overlooked. So sometimes we expect that we can just deal with the world, even if we stay up until 3 a.m. and wake up at 8 a.m. Like, you just cannot. Your body can't function without sleep. So sleep is a super important activity. So diet, exercise, and sleep are extremely important. What I haven't written down there is personal interaction with other people is super important too. Some kind of a connection emotionally with other people is also very important. But for day-to-day issues, the oils are easy, and even for those other issues, the oils can help complement diet, exercise, and sleep. Okay, so some resources that you have at your disposal to help you determine what you need for emotional support. This is a book that I really love. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils, a modern resource for healing. It is available online. You can get it from Amazon. You can get it from aromatools.com or oillife.com. Those are a couple places. It's one of my favorite resources, and it's really neat because in it you can look up the emotion that you're feeling, or the emotion that you don't want to feel, or the emotion that you want to feel, and it will help you pick the oil that would most help you get there. For example, I'm in the O section, and the first thing is obsessed. Are you feeling obsessed? So maybe you should try patchouli. And for me, patchouli is one of my go-tos, and it probably is because I have sort of an obsessive personality where I can't let go of ideas. I just hang up on things, get hung up on things, and can't let go. Then it says in the P section, panic. Are you feeling panicky? So it says balance. It's called our grounding blend is going to be the best option for you. So that's a really cool resource to have, just to know what oils to use in what circumstances. Another thing is the emotional wheel, and then a book called The Essential Life. I've got some pictures. So these emotions and essential oils wheel that you see in the lower right-hand corner is really handy. You can kind of turn that around. It's not a great picture, I'm sorry, and pick an emotion, and it'll help you determine what oil to use for that as well. The Essential Life book is a great resource as well for more than just emotions, but I do like that it has a lot of emotional references. And then doTERRA has a free app called the Daily Drop app that you can download on your smartphone. In that app, there's a determine your mood feature where you can put in how you're feeling, and it helps you determine what oils you should use to help you through that emotion. So that's a really cool tool that's free and really fun to play with. So these are some of the products. I'm going to go through some of my favorite products, but this is our emotional aromatherapy system. And I love this system. It has something for every possible emotion. There's a great chart that comes with it if you buy the whole set. But you can see it goes through each of these oils. We've got doTERRA, the Motivate blend, which is the encouraging blend, and it promotes feelings of confidence, courage, and belief. You know, if there are days where I'm just not feeling like doing anything, Motivate is the oil I turn to. And I'll tell you how we use these oils in just a minute. doTERRA Cheer is the uplifting blend. It promotes feelings of optimism, cheerfulness, and happiness. So if you know a grumpy person, this could be the perfect oil for them. I might have that person in my life, and he knows that this is the perfect oil for him. So it's really nice to have that as an option for him. He really loves smelling it all the time. The doTERRA Passion. I got to move our faces so that I can see what's happening on the screen. Passion, or the inspiring blend, ignites feelings of excitement, passion, and joy. Again, you're not feeling like working too much. You're not feeling like interacting with your loved ones too much. You're just not feeling very passionate about your job, maybe. Passion is a super great blend to use for that. And doTERRA has formulated these blends specifically with different types of herbs that are known to be exciting or calming or uplifting or releasing or cleansing or whatever the case may be. And because they're have years and years and years of experience with aromatherapy, these oils and these blends are super effective. So doTERRA Forgive is our renewing blend, and it promotes feelings of contentment, relief, and patience. And that is really true. I just love that blend. If there's a moment, you know, as a mom, maybe I feel a little bit frustrated with children's behavior, or my favorite bowl got broken or whatever. It really is very helpful to have that oil on hand. Then Console is the comforting blend. It promotes feelings of comfort and hope. I really use this a lot during the election season because it was a very difficult and trying time on both ends of things. So it was something that I turned to regularly. I didn't like seeing my friends be upset or, you know, any dealing with the emotions that come along with sort of feeling at odds with each other. And then doTERRA Peace, the reassuring blend, it promotes feelings of peace, reassurance, contentment. It can help with restfulness. Like if you're feeling restless, can't sleep, it can really be calming in that situation. So here at the slide, it says you can use these aromatically in an essential oil diffuser. You can apply 1 to 2 drops to your palms, rub your hands together, and then just cup, that's like over your nose, and inhale deeply. Try not to touch your eyes. Or dilute and apply topically to the aromatherapy touch points, such as the back of the neck, so right back here behind my ears, on the wrists, and then over the heart. So those are the ways that we really use the oils the most, these emotional oils. Okay, we have 4 more blends that I think are terrific for moods. And the emotional set, the last set that I showed you, those 6, are fairly new. I love them. I don't know how I lived without them before, but the first 4 blends we had for moods were these 4. And I still use them constantly. Citrus Bliss is very invigorating. It's very citrusy. It's got orange and lemon and vanilla. The flavor is very sweet and uplifting. Elevation is the joyful blend. It's got some similarities to Citrus Bliss. It's very effective for people when they're just feeling gloomy and gray, blue, just downhearted. Elevation really can elevate your mood. Balance is, I probably use the most balance. More than any other oil, I use balance. It helps not only with that panicky feeling that I can sometimes have. If you wake up in the middle of the night just feeling like everything is spinning out of control and you just can't stop thinking about it, balance is the oil I turn to. In the middle of the day when I'm super frustrated, balance. Maybe I have a lot on my plate and I feel like I'm just turning on both ends, and balance is the oil that I turn to. And then Serenity is an amazing calming blend. It's super good for sleep. If you struggle to sleep, applying it to the bottoms of your feet, over the heart. And Serenity and Balance, a lot of times people will blend together, and that combination is super effective and potent. And I use that. I call it my grocery store blend. So if I have to go to the grocery store with 4 children, those 2 together are magical. And I'll put it on me and I'll put it on them, and everybody just remains more calm. So those 4 are fantastic on their own. This helps you determine with those 4 oils, just gives you some ideas of, it's called the mood matrix, of how to use those 4 oils, maybe even together. So if you're feeling no peace, then you would turn to the left side. Maybe you're feeling no peace and you're feeling stressed, then you would use Balance. Or if you're feeling no peace, then use Balance and Serenity. If you're feeling fatigued, then use Serenity and Citrus Bliss. No passion, Citrus Bliss and Elevation. So that just gives you some ideas. The emotions chart, or emotional oils, were not available when this was made, and there's a great chart for the emotional oils as well, to help you determine which oil you might want to use. But I feel like the names are pretty spot on with those ones. Okay, let me move our faces one more time. And okay, so my favorite single oils that I use for emotions on a regular basis. Wild orange is very uplifting, but also very calming. It's great for sleep, actually. Some other citruses that I really enjoy for their uplifting and invigorating benefits is bergamot, lemon, grapefruit. All of those are wonderful. I love to add those to my cleaning products, because there's nothing better than when you're cleaning to smell something that makes you feel invigorated. And also, is that not toxic? I mean, these are great cleaning oils, very cleansing, detoxifying, great for cleaning surfaces, but also good for you to breathe in. So it's a nice trade-off when you're talking about the other cleaning products on the market. White fir and Douglas fir for family relationships, which there's a lot of family interaction right now. So white fir and Douglas fir, those are a great couple of oils to use during this time of year. Lavender relieves stress and anxiousness. Frankincense is very grounding and focusing. Patchouli for focus and stress relief. Clary sage for hormone-induced stress relief. So if you're dealing with stress that's related to your hormones, that would be a really good option. Ylang ylang is sort of similar, also good for hormone-induced stress relief, but also inspires passionate feelings. You know what I mean? Hang on one second. Moving faces one more time. You guys are just bouncing all over the place tonight. And then clove, cinnamon, and cassia are warming and very protective. So I had an example in the book that I wanted to read to you. Let me see if I can pull it open again, because I liked it, because it takes one of our blends that's known for digestive support. So that's called Digest Zen, is the blend that I'm talking about. And I just wanted to read what the book says about that oil blend. So it's called the oil of digestion, obviously. The digestive blend was formulated to support the body's digestive system. It also has a powerful emotional quality for supporting individuals who lack interest in life and the physical world. The individual may have a tendency to bite off more than they can chew by trying to do too much at once. This overload of information and stimulation may lead to an emotional form of indigestion, where the individual cannot break down life experiences into palatable forms. The soul literally becomes overfed and undernourished, as it cannot translate its experiences into a usable form. When the individual is fully overwhelmed and overstimulated, they may lose their appetite for food, life, and the physical world in general. They may become apathetic about their situation and begin neglecting their body's basic needs. This blend powerfully aids individuals in digesting life's many experiences. So it helps address emotions like the loss of appetite for food or for life, the inability to assimilate new information or experiences, or just generally feeling overstimulated. So that's a pretty cool thing, that even though that blend is specifically made for a health issue, it has an emotional connection as well. And I think a lot of times we tend to separate those physical feelings out from emotional feelings, like they're two separate things. But emotional things present themselves in physical ways. So, for example, skin issues are often some kind of an emotional thing that people have not yet moved through. And it can be any number of things. Digestive issues can be an issue, like it was saying, where you're not digesting things, or you're not ready to move forward, or something along those lines. And a lot of times, if you really think about when you're ill, you can almost always find, even if it's just stress, a lot of times feeling stressed, having this emotional state of being stressed or worried. We all know when we're nervous, we feel it in our stomach. If we're worried, we often feel it in our stomach. And so these things they get pent up in our stomach, and it doesn't just go away. That's not just an emotional thing in our stomach anymore. That's a physical feeling that is caused due to an emotional experience. So it's really important for us to address these issues, as I mentioned in the beginning. And the oils are super, super effective, easy, fun tools to use in order to overcome a lot of those different things. So how do you use them? I've already kind of covered that a little bit. You open the bottle and smell the oils. It's that simple. If you want to use the cupping method over your face, that's really easy too. Using a diffuser. Approximately 4 to 8 drops in a diffuser at a time. I have several diffusers that I prefer. I would not recommend using a diffuser that heats the oils, because that will break down their healthful benefits. But these cool mist diffusers work pretty good. Of course, there's all kinds of different levels of those that you can purchase. I recommend the ones from doTERRA. I think they're great. But there are more all over the market that you can try. You use topically on your wrists, behind your ears, over your heart, and really just play with them. See what you like. What are you going to do? Are you going to use it every night before you go to bed? Are you going to keep it in your purse? Or maybe get a little keychain that you can carry around with you with some of the oils in it. Make a roller bottle, which is just a bottle with a roller in the top, and you can dilute the oil in that and have that to apply anywhere all the time. Kids like to take those to school. Husbands like to take those to work. Keep them in a pocket or in the glove compartment, whatever. Really, the best case scenario is that you have the oils with you when you're going to use them and have them accessible. And the more you use the oils, the more you start to realize how they're a part of being well, and simple tools that we can use proactively to keep our bodies at their optimal. This is a quote that I just thought was really powerful. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They're buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. And I think that's so true. A lot of times you see people suffering from, it could be diseases even, or heart issues. And if you do some digging, a lot of times there are emotional roots to those things that they never overcome. They suppress it. Maybe they eat, and there's an emotional root to them being overweight because they eat because of an emotional issue, or, inflammation is caused because of stressors at their job, and that leads to heart failure, or liver failure, or whatever the case is. Emotions are very often overlooked and do definitely lead to disease the longer they live in us. I liked this too because it felt very empowering and hopeful, but challenges us all to be a little bit more proactive by taking control of our consistent emotions and to begin to consciously and deliberately reshape our daily life, our daily experiences of life. And that's Tony Robbins. And I really think if we can just start to do that and start to take responsibility for our activities in our brain and use these tools to reshape what that looks like, we can really empower ourselves to take back our health in a lot of different ways, but emotionally for sure. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was helpful. That is the end of my class. Short and sweet, but hopefully potent.